Shadows are moving in ways most people no longer notice. Hearts are shifting in silence. Something sacred is being separated without a sound. There is a stirring in the unseen world, a quiet tremor beneath the surface of ordinary days, and only a few feel it pressing against their spirit. It is subtle, almost imperceptible, like a breeze that brushes the skin before a storm no one imagines is coming. Yet it is real. It is happening now. And it is dividing those who only watch from those who truly discern. Many think life continues as usual, but a hidden line is being drawn, not by human hands, but by the one who sees the thoughts and intentions of every heart. You may have noticed it yourself, a strange weight in the air, an invisible pull that exposes what once could be easily hidden. Rooms filled with people now feel spiritually empty. Words that once seemed enough now echo without life. Crowds gather, but the atmosphere reveals something is missing, an authenticity, a burning, a longing. This invisible phenomenon touches homes, churches, nations. It passes through conversations, decisions, secrets. It is the quiet separation between those who cling to the light and those who drift into a comfortable darkness. It feels like walking through a landscape at twilight when shapes are still recognizable, but edges blur. In this dimness, souls reveal their true direction. Some move toward the whisper of truth, others drift toward an illusion of safety. Light and darkness no longer stand in fierce contrast. They blend, overlap, disguise themselves. And this is where the danger begins, because what appears harmless may already be hollow. What appears spiritual may already be asleep. What appears alive may only be a memory of what once burned bright. This phenomenon is not loud. It is not violent. It does not shake buildings or tear open the sky. Instead, it moves gently, separating hearts the way dawn separates night from morning, slowly, almost tenderly, yet with absolute certainty. It exposes intentions more than actions. It tests motives more than performances. It reveals who walks in surrender and who walks in routine. And those who feel this stirring know something is preparing the world for a moment that will not wait. Some feel pushed into solitude, not as punishment, but as refinement. Others sense a call to leave old patterns behind, even when nothing dramatic has happened on the outside. And many, without understanding why, are losing their appetite for distractions that once consumed them. This is no coincidence. It is preparation. It is alignment. It is the first whisper of a divine movement that has already begun. Because behind this quiet separation lies a truth too powerful to ignore. What is happening around us is not random. It is not psychological. It is not emotional. It is prophetic. And the one who warned us long ago is the same one guiding this silent dividing line now. And as this invisible work intensifies, a voice begins to rise within the spirit, gentle, firm, unmistakable, calling us deeper, calling us higher, calling us closer. For those who listen, the transition to what comes next has already begun. The quiet separation that began in the previous moments is not something imagined. It grows stronger, like a soft light rising behind a curtain, revealing outlines that were always there but never noticed. The heart feels it before the mind understands it. The soul senses it before the eyes see it. And in this growing tension between what is seen and unseen, a familiar voice begins to echo, one that once walked dusty roads, speaking in stories that carried eternity within them. That voice still calls today, not with thunder, but with truth, not with fear, but with urgency, not with condemnation, but with a plea. Do not fall asleep while the night grows darker. Stay awake, stay ready, stay true. These were words he spoke long ago, yet they fit this moment with a precision no human warning could match. He told us that many would walk with confidence, yet never examine their own hearts. He said that lamps could be held high, yet dry on the inside. He revealed that people could claim closeness while drifting far away in secrecy. And now those words unfold before our very eyes, not as ancient teachings, but as living reality. Look around, gatherings grow larger, yet hunger grows smaller. Songs rise louder, yet repentance grows quieter. Many say, "I'm fine, I already know enough, my life is in order." But beneath the rehearsed answers, the soul trembles. Something feels off, something feels missing. And that is exactly what Jesus warned, that a false sense of security would settle upon many like a warm blanket, numbing their spirit while convincing them they are awake. He told stories of people invited to a great celebration, yet some arrived unprepared, trusting in appearances rather than devotion. He spoke of travelers walking a narrow path, not because it was pleasant, but because it was real. He described servants waiting for their master, some vigilant, some distracted, all convinced they had more time. These stories were not meant to decorate sermons. They were alarms disguised as parables, invitations hidden within warnings. And now, in this age where everything is fast, loud, and full of distractions, his voice feels even more piercing. He whispers through the quiet moments when no one is watching. He speaks through the restlessness that wakes the soul in the middle of the night. He calls through the emptiness that lingers, even after success, entertainment, or routine. He is saying, do not let the comfort of this world rock you into a spiritual sleep. And for those who dare to listen, the message cuts deeper than ever before. Because the truth is sobering. Many are walking with Bibles in their hands, but dust in their hearts. Many fill their schedules with religious activity, but leave no space for intimacy. Many depend on borrowed fire, messages from others, emotions from others, spirituality from others, while the flame inside slowly fades. And while everything on the outside looks polished, the silence inside reveals a different story. This is the warning. This is the moment when Jesus is not shouting but pleading. He is exposing the quiet dangers that hide behind routine faith, behind casual devotion, behind the illusion that everything is fine simply because nothing seems wrong. He is reminding us that the greatest traps rarely appear as threats. They appear as comfort, as familiarity, as good enough. And as this invisible phenomenon unfolds across hearts, nations, and generations, his warning becomes clearer. What is happening now is not accidental. It is not emotional. It is not random. It is the fulfillment of his own words, unfolding gently yet undeniably. And for those with ears to hear, he is saying, this is the hour to awaken. This is the hour to return. This is the hour to prepare, not with fear, but with sincerity, not with panic, but with devotion, because the separation is real, and it is happening now. There comes a moment when the invisible pressure around the soul becomes too strong to ignore. It is as if the atmosphere tightens, stripping away the illusions we once carried with confidence. This is the refining work, quiet, painful, holy. It begins when God allows the ground beneath our feet to shift, not to destroy us, but to reveal what cannot remain. And many, without understanding why, feel this shaking deep within, a sense of loss, a sudden isolation. Doors that once opened easily now stay closed. Paths that once felt familiar now seem uncertain. It is not rejection, it is not abandonment, it is refinement. Refinement has always carried this pattern. Those chosen for deeper purposes are first separated from the noise. It happened to the man who built a vessel in a land without rain. He felt the weight of ridicule, the chill of loneliness, the silence of obedience. But the refinement produced a faith strong enough to lift his family above the coming waters. It happened to the one who was urged to flee a corrupted city, leaving behind everything familiar, while the sky trembled with judgment. The separation tore his heart, yet it preserved his life. These stories echo across time, not to glorify suffering, but to reveal a truth. Those who are refined carry something the storm cannot take. And today, the refining continues. It may come as friendships that fade without explanation, forcing you to stand alone. It may appear as opportunities that collapse, pushing you into a hidden season. It may break through as a longing you cannot satisfy with anything earthly. When everything familiar begins to fall away, the heart panics at first. But if you listen closer, beneath the confusion, there is a whisper. Do not fear the stripping. I am shaping you. In this process, God removes what is fragile to reveal what is eternal. He cuts away the excess to expose the truth. He allows the furnace not to burn you, but to refine you until the fire inside burns brighter than the fire around you. Refinement feels like standing in a windstorm. Everything loose is blown away. Everything shallow is shaken. The wind does not ask permission. It simply reveals what was anchored and what was temporary. And for those who belong to God, this wind is mercy. It pulls away false supports. It breaks chains that were disguised as comfort. It silences voices that drowned out his own. In the quiet that follows, something begins to happen. The soul learns to breathe again. Then comes the fire. Not the fire that destroys, but the fire that purifies. A fire that presses close enough to melt what is impure, yet gentle enough to shape what is precious. This fire exposes motives, desires, attachments. It reveals the difference between believing in God and belonging to Him. It burns away the pride that whispers, "You can do this alone," and it softens the heart until it becomes teachable again. Many resist this fire because it hurts, but the deepest pain often hides the greatest transformation. In the heat of this divine furnace, you discover parts of yourself you never knew were there. Courage, tenderness, humility, longing. And then comes the silence. A sacred, unsettling silence, the kind that makes you feel forgotten at first, the kind that tests whether you seek God's hand or His heart. But in that silence, if you stay long enough, you begin to hear what noise once drowned out. You hear your own soul. You hear the truth you once avoided. And most of all, you hear His voice, steady, patient, unwavering. It is often in the quietest seasons that God speaks the loudest. So if you feel isolated, do not mistake it for abandonment. If you feel stripped, do not assume you have failed. If you feel stretched, do not believe you are breaking. You may be in the place where God does His deepest work. For those He prepares, He first purifies. For those He calls higher, He first calls alone. And though the refining may feel like loss, it is actually preparation for what is coming. Stand firm through the shaking, trust through the fire, listen through the silence. For this refining is not punishment, it is purpose. And those who endure it will emerge with a faith that cannot be stolen, a clarity that cannot be deceived, and a strength that cannot be shaken. There is a danger rising quietly across the world, not with noise, but with lullabies. It does not threaten with storms or violence. It whispers with comfort. It soothes with familiarity. It wraps the soul in a gentle numbness that feels safe, spiritual, even blessed. Yet beneath that softness lies the greatest trap of this hour, the one designed not to frighten you, but to put you to sleep. This deception does not look like darkness. It looks like light without fire. It sounds like truth without surrender. It feels like peace without purity. It copies the appearance of devotion, but drains the power from within. And many fall into it because it asks for nothing, costs nothing, exposes nothing. It invites you to stay exactly as you are, promising that readiness requires no effort, no vigilance, no transformation. It is the quiet song that lulls the church into thinking she is prepared simply because she knows the language of faith. This is the same spirit that once led a woman to look back toward a city that was already burning. She had escaped with her feet, but her heart remained behind. The trap was not in the flames, it was in the longing. And today many walk forward with their words, but backward with their desires. The deception pulls gently, not violently, drawing the heart toward old comforts, old patterns, old identities. It convinces the soul that a little compromise is harmless, that a little sleep is deserved, that a little drift will not matter. But a small drift becomes a wide distance when the moment arrives. There is another picture of 10 women holding lamps in the quiet of the night. They all believed they were ready. They all waited for the same moment. They all carried the symbol of preparation. Yet only half had the substance. Only half carried the inner flame. The others relied on appearance, thinking the lamp was enough. They were not wicked. They were not rebellious. They were simply comfortable. And comfort is the drug that has put this generation to sleep. There is also the story of a community that believed they lacked nothing. Their gatherings were lively, their voices confident, their routines polished. They were sure of their spiritual health, unaware that they were slowly drifting into lukewarm complacency. They did not reject God, they simply stopped needing Him. Their self-assurance became blindness. Their comfort became chains. Their confidence became their fall. These narratives are not ancient warnings, they are mirrors. Today, the greatest danger is not persecution, it is sedation. Not opposition, it is distraction. Not darkness, it is dimness. The enemy knows that loud threats awaken the soul, but soft comfort puts it to sleep. And so he wraps deception in pleasant tones, in busyness, in religious language, in the quiet belief that I already know enough. He does not steal the Bible from your hands, he steals the hunger from your heart. This deception has many faces. It can look like routine spirituality that no longer searches for God. It can appear as a disciplined life that lacks intimacy. It can present itself as success that slowly replaces dependence. It convinces you that you are strong enough, wise enough, spiritual enough. But the subtle truth is this: the moment you believe you cannot fall, you are already slipping. So examine yourself. Look past the surface. Ask where your affections go when no one is watching. Ask whether your soul still trembles at His whisper. Ask whether you are awake or merely functioning. Because the danger of this hour is not that people are running away from God, it is that they believe they are close while drifting far. This is the final test. Not a test of knowledge, but of desire. Not a test of performance, but of purity. The enemy does not need to make you fall. He only needs to make you comfortable. He does not need to deceive you with lies. He only needs to distract you with half-truths. He does not need to attack your faith. He only needs to lull it to sleep. Wake up now. Resist the soft chains. Refuse the lullaby. The hour is late, and the soul that sleeps may not hear the call when it comes. If the deception of this hour is subtle and the refining is intense, then living awake requires more than emotion. It demands intention. Not the frantic effort of someone trying to earn God's approval, but the steady devotion of a heart that longs to stay near Him. The oil that keeps the flame alive is not collected in public moments. It is gathered in the hidden places where the soul learns to breathe in His presence again. And though the path is simple, it is sacred. In this hour, prayer becomes more than words. It becomes alignment. It is the quiet moment at dawn when you whisper to God before the world speaks. It is the conversation you return to throughout the day, lifting short breaths of surrender and trust. Prayer is not a ritual, it is the oil that keeps your inner flame from drying. And when the soul begins to drift, prayer anchors it again. There is the discipline of fasting, not merely the absence of food, but the intentional removal of noise. When you fast, you silence the appetites that compete with God's voice. You open space for clarity, for conviction, for tenderness to return. Fasting resets the spiritual senses, sharpening them until you can distinguish the whisper of the Spirit from the murmur of your own desires. Confession also becomes a doorway, not to shame, but to freedom. The moment you bring hidden things into the light, the chains lose their strength. Confession is not about exposing weakness. It is about reclaiming strength. It is turning the soul toward honesty so that intimacy with God is no longer hindered by secrets you were never meant to carry alone. There is also the sacred practice of silence, stepping away from the endless stream of noise and allowing the heart to rest. In a world where every second is filled with voices, silence becomes the place where God speaks the clearest. It is where distractions fall away, where pride dissolves, where longing awakens. Silence is not emptiness, it is invitation. And then there is the Word, not studied mechanically, not approached out of duty, but embraced as living breath. When you sit with Scripture in intimacy, you do not simply read stories. You hear the heartbeat of the one who wrote them. You begin to see yourself in the arcs of redemption, in the whispers of promise, in the calls to repentance. The Word becomes a lamp, not only to guide your steps, but to expose the shadows within you that you did not know existed. Yet spiritual life is not built only in solitude. It is cultivated in choices, small daily choices that shape who you become. There was once a man who lived a respectable life, yet deep inside he felt empty. Every night after the noise of his house faded, he sensed a pull to pray. For months he ignored it, convincing himself he was too tired. One night, he finally surrendered. In that quiet corner, something awakened. The emptiness broke, and what began as a reluctant whisper became the flame that transformed his home. There was a woman who carried bitterness for years, believing she had been wronged too deeply to forgive. She served faithfully, but her heart was heavy. One day, she felt prompted to release the person who hurt her. The simple act of forgiveness felt like tearing open a wound, but in that moment she felt a warmth move through her chest, a healing she had prayed for but never received until she surrendered the pain. Her freedom became the testimony that led her daughter back to faith. There was a young believer who loved God but felt trapped in cycles he could not break. He would rise, fall, rise again, and hide. One day he confessed his struggle to a trusted friend, expecting judgment. Instead, he received grace. That moment of vulnerability opened a door to restoration. The chains that held him for years snapped in the presence of truth and compassion. These stories show a pattern. God moves where the heart is honest. Transformation begins where the soul becomes willing. The separation of this hour is not meant to harm you, it is meant to guard you. It is mercy disguised as discipline. The refining is preparation, not punishment. And the invitation is the same for all. Return to the place where the flame never dies. Let this be the moment you choose vigilance over comfort, sincerity over appearance, desire over routine. For those who live awake will not be caught without oil. Those who walk in intimacy will withstand deception. And those who remain faithful in the hidden places will shine when the hour grows darkest. You have walked through the separation, the warning, the refining, the deception, and the call to live awake. Now a final truth rises gently but firmly. This is not punishment. This is mercy. Every shaking, every silence, every unveiling, each one is a hand pulling you closer to the heart of God. He is not driving you away. He is drawing you in. He is not exposing you to shame you. He is revealing you so he can heal you. He is not testing you to break you. He is preparing you to stand when the moment comes. The time is short. The signs are clear. The bridegroom is near. These words echo in the soul like footsteps approaching in the distance. They remind us that hope is not fading, it is rising. They call us to lift our eyes from the noise of the world and fix them on the one who has never stopped watching, never stopped guiding, never stopped loving. He is closer than you think, closer than the next breath, closer than the next sunrise. And so the heart must stay awake, the flame must stay lit, the soul must stay ready. This readiness is not fear, it is longing. It is the quiet expectation of someone who knows they are loved. It is the posture of a heart that understands that God's warnings are expressions of his kindness. When he separates, he protects. When he refines, he restores. When he convicts, he invites. When he calls, he embraces. Remember this, the world will grow louder, but his whisper will always be stronger for those who listen. Distractions will multiply, but clarity will come to those who stay near. The night will deepen, but light will rise in those who refuse to sleep. And as the atmosphere shifts, as the invisible line is drawn, as the final moments approach, one truth remains unshakable. He is faithful. He is steady. He is coming. Hold on to hope like a torch in the wind. Hold on to purity like treasure hidden in a field. Hold on to love like an anchor that no storm can loosen. The road ahead may narrow, but the presence beside you will grow stronger. The world may tremble, but the soul rooted in him will remain firm. The darkness may whisper, but the light within you will answer with a flame that cannot be extinguished. Let these final words rest deep within you. Stay awake, stay pure, stay ready, not out of fear, but out of devotion. Not because the hour is uncertain, but because your calling is eternal. Not because you are perfect, but because you are loved with a love that refuses to let you drift. And when the moment comes, and it will, may your heart be found burning, may your soul be found awake. May your life be found steady, faithful, surrendered. For the one who warned you is the one who carries you. The one who calls you is the one who strengthens you, and the one who is coming is the one who has never left your side. Lift your head. Hope rises. Light approaches. The bridegroom is near.